You are here today, and I assume because you're here. And so we're glad to have you here. I'm Pastor Ron. Some of you may know me. Some of you, I hope you don't start throwing some plates or anything like that unless there's food left on them. But we're glad that you guys are out today. I just wanted to get ready. I'm going to introduce your speaker this morning for you. But I just wanted to take a minute and thank you guys for coming out today. How many knew that the roads were a little bit whatever? Yeah, and some of you live for this. That's all you ever do. I've probably been passed by several of you this morning in the fast lane. And I know that, for most people, they look at the road and they see a nice clear path right ahead of them and they see that covered, snowy, dangerous fast lane and they say, why not, right? Why not? I can do that. And that was the guy who was following me this morning in that box truck. He was behind me. And I'm in a Jeep, and he looks at me, and I'm doing 50, and I'm behind some other people, and he looked at that lane, and he said, why not? And the next thing I know is I couldn't see because he splattered ice all over me, and I'm doing 38 mile an hour, whole 38 mile an hour. But anyway, I'm glad you guys got out here today, but I just want to say this before we invite the speaker up, is I wanted to say this, is that there were years, the men's breakfast has been really well attended for many, many years. And I'm so thankful for Marvin and all those guys, those cooks back there that do such a tremendous job. Can we tell them thank you for what you do? Thank you, Marvin. Thank you, guys. There's so many names out here. I can't announce them all, but I just wanted to say. But I wanted to say this, that in the church itself, the men have, I'm just being straight up honest with you because Pastor Jake likes it whenever I'm real with you. So the men have come to church, have just gotten by, who just did whatever, but a lot of times the ladies tell us, oh, they're doing this and that and this and that in the church, and that's all wonderful, but I gotta tell you, something shifted in the church culture not too long ago, and when we were praying, and Pastor Jake was praying about that, and the guys got together, and they worked together really hard, and we said, the men have got to step up and become the man that God's called them to be, to lead their homes, whether it's through church or whether it's through life and everything else, right? And we understand that, we know that. And I just want to say that I'm thankful to watch that happen because you guys have done, Pastor Jake, your team and all you guys that are doing this have done such a great job. And because of that, I want you to know, I used to go to this man tour. We used to drive. Does any guys remember going to a man tour up in Altoona? Do you remember getting in a van? How many was in the van with us? Do you remember? Dell, you were in there? There was what, 10, 13 guys? Was that right? Would you say that's probably right? 13 guys would attend this man tour, and it would be attended by 100, 150 guys up in Altoona, whatever. And the man tour had heard what was happening at New Stanton Church. New Stanton up here, something like that. They started hearing that the men were standing in front of the church praying before church started. And they said, well, why couldn't we do it at New Stanton? We said, well, why don't you come to New Stanton? They came last year, as Pastor Jake said. 300 men showed up for the man tour. And I want to tell you what, it was an amazing, powerful day that day. And I realized that it didn't just happen on one day. It's been happening every 2 weeks as Pastor Jake continued to share those messages and challenge each one of you. He's challenged me. How many remember the day he challenged you to wear the white towel around the whole time with you? If you don't know anything about that, you got to stop and you got to see what he's got. He's got amazing stuff. And so I want to encourage you to come to them. But anyway, March 7th, if you didn't get a chance to sign up for that. But today, what we're doing and what they're doing here, not me, I have no part of this. I'm just here to eat, and so I'm thankful that you had food to eat.
You're a fill-in.
I'm a fill-in, that's all. He said, I was supposed to kill time. No, that's not it. But the reason why I want to say why today is special in this sense is that my goal was to raise people up to be the man they're called to be, that Christ called them to be in their family. You might be a young guy in here thinking, man, I got 50 years before I'm your age, pastor. No, you don't. It comes faster than you think. I'm just telling you young guys. But some of us think, well, I'm too old to see God move in my life. That's not true either. God's able to use you in incredible ways. But one privilege I get at the church is raising up men and women to answer their call to Christ, to answer and to go out and do it. And that's what Pastor Jake has done. That's what other men in here have done. And that's no less what you're going to see this morning when you hear this story. And I think it'll challenge you in every way. So with all that said, I want to invite you to church tomorrow. I said if you can get food this morning, you're going to see Martha has an entire table spread. It's all junk food, so if you can make it out tomorrow, it's wonderful. But for today, I want to introduce to you and make him feel welcome. Clem Swentek is going to come and share.
Thank you, Pastor. Morning, men. Wow. Sorry, I'll try to tone that back. Talked about the fill-in. That would be me. I got a call just a couple weeks ago to do this. So here I am. I'm one of the pastors here. Deacons here, soon to be pastor, I hope. And I want to tell you all about how that came to be. Marvin called me and says, "You want to give your testimony?" I'm like, "Sure, why not?" My testimony, raised Catholic, was Catholic until I was 18 years old. I served the altar from 2nd grade through 12th. There, probably one Sunday a month and one full week a month. When it was my time to go to college, I turned in my vestments, and my priest says, "Man, Clem, you'd sure make a great priest." And I'm like, "No, not me. I like women too much." And he did exactly what you just did, laughed. Because as we all know, they are married to the church and not to wives. And that wasn't for me. So I went on to college. We'll go through this quickly. I did all the things I should not have done. Just like most of everybody who's sitting in here probably did all the things in their youth they shouldn't have done. So graduate college, start working. Was raised my home life at home, parents, grandparents, abusive father, alcoholic, grandfather is alcoholic. And here I go at age 22 to work in a bar as a bouncer. Not a good place for someone who's been alcoholic in background. For you know it, I'm entirely too drunk and too hammered up to do my job. And then when I do have to do my job, it makes it very difficult. Running with women, doing the things I shouldn't be doing. Finally got married, left that life behind me. Married to her for almost 20 years. And she all of a sudden says, "I'm out of here, bye." Interesting concept when that's told to you. Very interesting. You don't know what to do because you didn't do anything wrong. I'm going somewhere else. By the way, my job at that time, I'd been a truck driver my entire life. So I'm working, buying rental properties, working. She walks out. The only thing I left with was the rental properties. Everything else went to her. Hard restart, basically. All this time, I'm now working for American Freightways, and 2 Christian men started witnessing to me. They one day come up to me and said, "What's your relationship with Jesus?" I said, "I know him, I know of him, but I don't have a relationship. What are you talking about?" Well, after 3 or 4 months of them chatting me up, told me what was going on with that, I get, quote unquote, saved. I bought fire insurance. A lot of people have done that. Then I come to the newsstand. And here's where the story changes. I found out what that relationship was supposed to be. Still looking for a wife because mine had left. Looking. I'm on every dating website there is. I finally said I quit because every woman that I dated, they weren't what they said they were. And finally, I said, I'm done with it. I'll just be single. Here comes Brenda. Most of you, not all of you, but most of you know her now as Pastor Brenda. She's here working under Pastor Ron. I ended up buying a house that was nearly the same house that I had, size-wise and so forth, before my first divorce. I end up with a wife who loves the Lord. Instead of all the arguments every night, we actually enjoy being with one another. Lots of chains to break, still, even at my time then. But got through all that. God kept pulling me forward. Ended up getting asked to be a deacon here. Served 4 years, came off a year. Now I come back for another 4. I'm at 2 now. Going to see if somebody wants me here again. I don't know. We'll see what the Lord has to say about that. But coming to this church has opened my eyes to what the Lord is, who He is, and how He deals with us. And it saved me a nervous breakdown 7 years ago, excuse me. I had gone into business with a friend of mine in 2017, and we bought a trucking company together. And in 2 years, we went from making a whole lot of money to being way, way, way in the hole. Nearly lost my home. But during that period, the Lord talked to me in a dream, and He says, "You're not going to lose your house. You're not going to lose your home." Well, that's hard to listen to when you see everything on paper. Come down to 2 days before we were going to go see an attorney. And we get a call from somebody that says, "Meet me in my office. I want to see you." Pulled me in the office. Went and saw him. And the Lord had put it on their heart to help us. And all I was asked is, "How much do you need?" And there was no number put on it. Just, "How much do you need?" Told this person that number, and he wrote a check. Guys, it's humbling when somebody else has to pay your bills. It's hard to reach across the desk and take a check from another man to keep your home running. Any sense of pride you have will be torn to pieces at that point. It will be replaced with humility, humbleness, because we all think we're in control. We're men. We're in control of our lives. Oh, I'm going to do what I want to do, when I want to do. I'm going to go make my millions. I'm going to retire at 50. I'm going to travel the world. I'm going to hunt all over the place. I'm going to fish everywhere. No, you're not in control of anything. If anything was ever proved to me, that was proof right there. But from that point, the bleeding stopped. He provided me with a job that would pay the bills, keep us out of water. And we went from almost $500,000 in debt to, in 6 years, I'm down to 50 grand. He's provided the whole way along. We've never missed a payment. We were faithful during the whole period, tithing. Anything we got, we paid our 10% on. And he took care of us. During that time, Pastor Ron started dropping little nuggets into my lap about doing this. And I started helping Pastor Jake teach at the men's. And he sent me one day, I got a picture of it in my phone. Picture of things to come. Me standing here, speaking to a whole room full of men just like this. God has replaced everything that Satan has tried to destroy. My home, family, income, all the way down the line. He's taking care of me. 2 years ago, during that time when the trucking company was going belly up and we had gotten rid of everything, I'm sitting there one night about midnight, just crying out, God, what do you want me to do? What are you doing to me? Why? There was nothing wrong with what I was doing. What do you want me to do? I'm yelling this out in my bedroom. He said one word, and one only. Missionary. I'm like, huh? What? What'd you say? He didn't say nothing else. So next night I tell Brenda, I need you to pray about something. It's like, what? Listen, I'm not telling you. I need you to pray about this. Have God answer the question I have through you. And she's looking at me like, what is wrong with you? I mean, you are nuts. I'm like, just do it, please. So that went on for a few nights, and then she wakes me up. She's, man, I was just dreaming. I'm like, what are you dreaming? What do you mean you're dreaming? She goes, we were missionaries, and I just hit the brakes. I'm like, you what? She's like, we were missionaries, and I looked at her, and I had a dead blank stare in my face. She's like, what's wrong? And she didn't get with you out of her mouth. She went, oh, no. And I'm like, yeah, oh, no is right. So I start, by this time, Brenda's already in school. She's going to, she's taking her classes to be a pastor. And I start asking around, what's it take to be a missionary? What do you got to do? What do you got to do? And every time they're all saying, well, you got to be a pastor. I'm not called to be a pastor. It's like he called me to be a missionary. How do I do this? What do I do? I messed around for 2 years trying to figure this out. And he said to me one night while I was praying, he's like, delayed obedience is not obedience. Ow. So instead of looking around, I started digging, and I started getting after it. And I finally decided, okay, since that's what everybody's saying, I started going to school. Well, next Saturday, I complete my second year, and I could test to be a licensed pastor after I complete that class next week. No, actually, I got to have Pastor Ron get me through an internship. But other than that, then I can test to be a pastor. Well, while going to school, the missionary thing came up. And Brenda and I were praying about what we're going to do. And we didn't know. Couldn't figure out how to do it. But her and I would drive through newsstand all the time. And we'd drive by the low-income rentals and all that right down there, all the hotels and so forth. And it broke our heart to see the people that were down there. And just didn't know what to do for them. It just broke our heart. I was in school in October, and one of the pastors that were teaching was talking about dinner church. I don't know what dinner church was. And he handed me a book. He said, you need to read this, because he said, you just have this written all over you. Because I told him about my dream and, the Lord telling me about missionary and so forth. So we start looking at it. And I'm like, yeah, maybe could be. I don't know if this is it. And Pastor Ron gets called to a meeting on dinner church out in Carlisle. He goes out, him and Jamie were out there, and they attended the meeting. They come back and they told Brenda and I, this is you. It's got you written all over it. Well, we prayed about it. I started doing some more work, doing some more reading, and we said yes. And we had a meeting at the church 3 weeks ago. And we had 48 volunteers show up to help start this dinner church. And we are going to be home missionaries here in New Stanton to start with. Guys, said all that to say this. To you young men sitting over here, not looking at me, paying attention, looking at one another. Please hear this. Don't follow my path. There's going to be a lot of bad stuff that's going to come floating through. Don't do it. Chasing girls and all the stuff that goes along with that. Girlfriends are all right, but just be careful what you do beyond having a girlfriend. I'm going to stop it at that. To the young men, if God's calling you, delayed obedience is disobedience. Don't be like me, 18 years old, and get called and say, not doing that. And then be 58 and actually start to do it. 40 years. Your brain doesn't work as well, and going to school is a lot more difficult. Testing is more difficult. To us middle-aged and older men, you're never too old to start. Not ever. My whole story is a story of restoration, where God has taken bad things and turned them for good. That's what he does. He restores. He takes what Satan decides he's going to try to destroy you with, and then just makes it part of your story. Guys, I've got a question for you. Number one, if there's somebody here that doesn't know him, doesn't have a relationship with him, today's the day. I know that's strong. But if you don't know him and he's not part of your life, you really, really need to think about why he's not. To those who are part of the fire insurance crew, do you think that's where he wants you to be? Just having fire insurance? Or does he want you to be activated? For those of you who are activated, are you doing what you're supposed to be doing? Or are you hiding behind a ministry, or, I'm doing this, or I'm doing that, or, I'm not good enough to do that. You older guys, There's nothing wrong with getting to work at age 50, 60, 70. He'll use anybody and everybody that's in here. You have to say one word. There's two parts to it. First, you have to submit to his will. And then it's just, yes. Yes, Lord, I'll do it. Now, I've talked long enough. But my question to you, are there any brave men in here? Would you want to say yes? Is there anybody here willing to say yes? Because all you got to do is say yes. He loves you. He wants what's best for you. And I know he wouldn't want you to leave here without at least knowing him at a minimum. And I don't mean, knowing, I mean some kind of a relationship. Anybody here that doesn't know him? All right, guys. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Thank you for your time, man. I hope I didn't bore you. It's muted.
Thank you, Cloud. Well, nothing, Cloud, man. It's hard to do, you know not what men are gonna take it and take it for granted. But great testimony. We all have a testimony. A lot of us in here, a lot of us maybe not in here, but a lot of us here don't think we need God until you need him. So we're looking to go back against the wall, looking up to the sky, and we're wondering, where does my help come from? You're wondering, who is that guy up there? He's that man. He's not a guy. He's the Lord. He's the King of Kings, Lord of Lords. And so that's what we do with the men's ministry. Right here, we're in the middle of down in, the down in man of God. That's what it's about, being a man of God for your family, for your community. We all fall. We all fail. I'm not the perfect example, but I am following the perfect example, which is Jesus Christ. As long as I follow him and not man, as long as I follow the word and not the herd, I'm okay, right? That's what we need to do. So I encourage you, if you haven't been to a men's ministry Bible study, this is really going to get you in, man. It doesn't matter how tailored you are. It doesn't matter how well deep you're in your studies, if you are a Christian or not. It doesn't matter. Come, eat, fellowship with other guys. They're willing to just share their story. They're willing to meet you where you're at. That's what it's about. It's about meeting men where they're at, because this men's Bible study started for where I was at. And something happened to me, and I was mentored by a small group of men here that changed the trajectory of my life. And I would have called it quits at that point. But that's why this men's ministry is here, the IronMens, because it was birthed out of pain. And pain becomes progress. Progress becomes glory for the glory of God. So I hope you got what you guys needed here. If you guys want to join, pick up this small schedule, all the rest of the schedules for the next probably 2 months. It is right there where Brent's at, behind that table there, okay? So thank you guys for coming. Any questions? Anybody got any questions here? No questions? I know. Now, if women were here, they would be like, hey, I got a question. But that's okay. It's okay. I'll get you. Thank you guys again for coming. Marvin said there is, what, thirds? More food. So take homes, maybe take homes if you guys want to do that. Guys, get your food. Okay, thank you guys for coming. Thank you for supporting us. Today's ministry, thank you. Bless you guys. Have a good weekend.